Alex Ansary here. This is my video for November 22nd, 2013. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to talk about stereotypes of Muslims in this video in short. But there is this popular belief that all Muslims are promoting Sharia law. There's this popular belief that all Muslims are expected to practice Sharia law or they're not good Muslims. So to be a good Muslim, you have to practice Sharia law. And Sharia law is believed to be a certain thing, and Western propaganda has played a big role in shaping that, and the internet as a whole. Now, it doesn't mean that there aren't horrible things happening in the Muslim world, but this conversation isn't about that. The world's full of violence as it is, from every single culture. So people that take the worst of one culture to promote the fallacy that their culture or people of a certain race are better than them, that's bullshit. But I'll tell you what, it's going on right now. And there's a lot of people out there, they're neglecting the darkness of their own culture, of our country. The things that are taking place, the blind ignorance and the blind faith that's taking place in regard to our leaders. Yeah, you got a lot of people that don't like what Barack Obama's doing, but they still like what the military's doing. And that's not healthy thinking for people to just blindly worship their military. But there's a lot of horrible things that have been done in the Middle East, and I don't think that warrants terrorism as a response. People should be focusing on the powers that be. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that have been influenced by the powers that be, media and propaganda. And they're not looking at this as they should. I don't think that many Christians are truly doing what Jesus would do. People that say that they're Christians. And I don't believe that they're actually working to have a true connection, a lot of them, with that which we choose to call God, or to have that direct connection between their higher self and God, and use their intuition, develop their intuition to where they can recognize, at the very least, people that aren't godly and recognize those that are, people that are in line with the light or with the Creator. And people, I think, should be able to recognize those that are in league with Satan or Shaitan or El Diablo or whatever word that there is for the dark forces from whatever culture you're looking at, whatever time. There's not enough emphasis on that, and if there was emphasis on that, we would see how, these things called the knockout games and other things are a derivative of some evil force on our planet. Now, I know this is a lot for some people to deal with, these supernatural beliefs in the battle of good versus evil, spiritual warfare. But when I look at these clash of civilizations as they're known to be, which are really fabricated and manufactured by the powers that be behind the scenes, I'm seeing that dark energy, I'm seeing that dark force come out and show its ugly head that wants to divide people. And there's far too many people that are wasting their time being afraid of Muslims when they could be focused on the New World Order. Now, having said that, I've also expressed my frustrations in past YouTube videos at Muslims that are not speaking out against what's taking place, that are not educating themselves about what's really going on, about the truth about 9/11, about so many other things that Muslims should know about, that my relatives on my father's side should know about, should, in my opinion, be discussing. After all, that's their country that's being occupied. It's not my country, technically. I was born in Portland, Oregon. But I have an ethnic lineage that goes back to that country, although I am not a Muslim, and there are many people in those countries that aren't Muslims, that have lived or resided in those countries, like Afghanistan, for thousands of years. There's not enough understanding about Afghans or Iraqis, and I think in my lifetime I'm going to be making a documentary about Afghanistan, about its history, about its culture, about what's going on there, what has been going on there since 9/11, what was going on there before 9/11. I think that there's a documentary inside me about Afghanistan where I'm not just expressing myself through a rant, but there's a lot of history that I think needs to be told, but not just to people in the West. There are Afghans that need to hear some things, that need to have a certain perspective given to them. And it's a perspective that exists outside the box of the lesser of two evils. Outside of the box of a view that either we get with the U.S. or we're going to be absorbed by Pakistan and Iran and have their influences like the Taliban to deal with. The Afghan people that are anti-Taliban need to understand. They need to understand the financial forces behind the Taliban and the links between Pakistan and the United States, in particular the CIA and the ISI. That is huge. That is one of the biggest issues that any Afghan, be they someone in Afghanistan today or someone that has migrated to America from Afghanistan or someone that's Anglo-Saxon that lives in the United States that has an opinion about U.S. occupation in Afghanistan, they need to know the links between terrorism and the CIA, between Pakistani intelligence and the Taliban. And they can go back and they can look at George Tenet meeting with the head of the ISI in the week before 9/11. So I'm going to end this video now at 6 or 7 minutes. We need to keep our focus on what's really going on. And we need more Muslims, those that are Muslim. I'm not Muslim, so I'm not going to speak for Muslims. But there are many Muslims on this planet. And Farrakhan, it's nice that he's speaking about Obama's involvement in this global structure. But Farrakhan needs to do more. And hopefully he is waking up. Other Muslims need to do more. Other Afghans need to do more. Other Americans need to do more when they're exposing the New World Order. Fritz Springmeier, because of all the things that I just talked about, I was opposed to his blatant judgment of Muslims as a whole, and I told him so. And I told him that type of thinking is why people like me, with last names like my last name, are judges being Muslims. And because we're judges being Muslims, or because we're assumed to be the enemy, people behave a certain way. Of course, I speak good English. I have a lot to say. So I don't deal with the same bullshit other people have to deal with. Because I stand up for myself. But there's a lot of people on this planet that don't stand up for themselves and are cowering in fear because of the propaganda that they are something to be afraid of. And I called Fritz out on that, and he blocked me from Facebook. So I just want to throw that out there. There are a lot of people out there that say that they're exposing the dark secrets of the global agenda or global elite, that there are still flaws in the way that they are looking at how the global elite is operating on Earth today. And they are all about divide and conquer.